And our supreme champion female is our national champion, Charlet. I feel the power of Tim
112J.
Bullock.
Entry number 80, our grand champion, Polled Hereford Bull from Agribition. One show in grand champion, one show in supreme.
She's not just a lady for a day, she's lady for life. Wheatland Lady, 211H, and Wheatland Bull, 4177M. Entry number 37.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 4 of the Next Gen Cattle Podcast. We're really excited this week to have our first couples edition with Morgan MacIntyre and Jackson Corner. So welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us. We're really excited.
Yeah, thank you.
Just each of you can chat a little bit on how you guys got involved in the cattle industry and, what you guys are up to now in terms of cattle and agriculture.
Well, we both had very different starts into the industry. For me, it's been something I've been involved with since the day I was born. My mom grew up in a family heavily involved in the Simmental breed, being very prevalent on the show road, and she and 2 of her sisters still are. I know within that group, it was the Benke sisters were very well known and the ones to beat. And my dad, he grew up showing steers and a few heifers through 4-H as well. So it's pretty neat being multi-generational in the business, with my extended family being so prevalent. Between me and my parents, the Elmhursts, the Crawfords, I think we've set the mark. And I'm super, super happy to keep up that family tradition and keep exhibiting our cattle. It's always been a passion of mine, and I love that I've been able to do it with my family over the years and continue with it in the future. Slowly growing my own herd and gaining a few of my own heifers to exhibit every year, it's really neat and it's really exciting.
I know, even there was that stretch of years through 4. I think there would have been a couple of years where you guys were all, would have all been a part of the Junior Beef Heifer Show in Toronto.
Yep.
Yeah, so
it was a tough one.
You guys are all awesome showmen, but those Crawford girls, they sure know how to stick one for sure. And even, yes. I think one of them won at quite a young age too, right? I don't know if it was Toronto, but one of those junior shows I remember thinking holy crow.
Oh man, those girls are still so young and I can't get over how well they're doing.
They're whooping all of our butts and as senior show people, and they're juniors and they're just kicking it. So
it's crazy.
Awesome. For sure. And what about you, Jackson? How did you get your start?
So I kind of didn't have any background in agriculture. When I was growing up, I started in 4-H with one of my older sisters when I was 9. Our first club was the poultry club. We thought we'd try to raise some meat birds. And then the following year at the local rally night, my dad randomly just asked us if we wanted to do the beef club. So we said, sure, why not? Didn't really have any idea what we were getting ourselves into. A month later, we got our first 2 show animals, a Speckle Park steer and heifer from a local feedlot. We learned everything from scratch, but with great mentors. I started to get the hang of things, and I'm gaining some notoriety in recent years. I think back, and it's really crazy how one little question from my dad completely changed the trajectory of my life.
I think even with the whole learning from scratch, my parents were super supportive of everything I was doing, but they never showed cows as kids or anything. And I think I'm sure you feel the same way in this, but it's kind of a different sense of pride, when you know that you kind of built your own thing with your family, right? And now you get to be the generation that can pass that on to your kids in the future too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just seeing how far you've come when you look back.
For sure. Do you still have some Speckle Parks at home, or did you sell them now? Or
yeah, we sold them when I started in school 3 years ago. So yeah, we don't have any more. The last one, she left this spring.
I guess in terms of herd base, what do you guys kind of look for in terms of your next show prospect or donor female?
Yeah, when we're looking for our next show prospects, a steer or heifer, structure is really important. I think it goes hand in hand with longevity for females. You can change a lot with management and a feed bucket, but structure is something you can't fix. And with that, I generally gravitate towards cattle that have a neater look from the side, maybe some wilder pieces, and they have a good presence to them too.
For sure. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the influence that the U.S. has on Ontario as well, right? And not that it's not prevalent out here, but I think more so in Ontario. And yeah, it's definitely a cool combination if we can figure out how to, get a female with the mass and weight and structure out here and then combine it with a female or a male from the States or Ontario that has some of those crazier features, right? It'd be a really cool combo for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a neat to kind of cross paths with those and see what we can make too.
For sure. You have a couple heifers from Dennis too, right? Or at least the one from last year.
My show heifer this year is from Saryankos, and the heifer I showed last year, she was from Thomas Ranch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I own her now with Saryankos.
What would be some goals you guys both have kind of in your herds and for the future together or kind of separate?
Just looking at my parents' herd and everything that we've grown there, it's still a pretty small herd, but we have always been able to sell a few heifers each year. So having our customers bring out those show heifers or their progeny, it's really honestly the best feeling. It's kind of like knowing you've done something right when someone else believes in your program as well. So I think a big goal for me is being able to walk around the barns at a major show like the Royal or something and just seeing our genetics being successful for not only us, but for other people as well. So I want to always be happy with the cattle we bring out to shows, obviously, but a big goal is just to see many others with our genetics and winning shows and just overall being super happy with them.
How do you as breeders achieve the balance between creating show heifers that are successful in the show ring and also make great donor cows?
Yeah, I think functionality plays a big role in finding that balance. You hear a lot of people say not all show heifers make good cows, and that's true. But at the same time, I believe a lot of great show heifers do make great cows. When they're built right in their skeleton, those elite show heifers can go on and be really productive cows and producing the next generation of show females and foundation females.
For sure. And I think there's no better feeling too, right? When you go out looking for maybe more of a donor female and then you buy one and you get her home and then kind of over time she turns into a show heifer before she becomes a donor female too, right? Like I know from my experience, you go and you look for one and you're like, man, that's going to be the next cow that we build our herd off of. And maybe not necessarily the fanciest show heifer or maybe the top of the sale that those guys are marketing as a show heifer. But then you get her home and you kind of start to work on her and analyze her. And then kind of all the pieces start to fall together. And you're like, wow, like this female could really work in the show ring as well, right?
Yeah, and kind of building on that, I said it a bit earlier, you think about their future and you can see a lot of what kind of cow they're going to make even when they're young. Udder structure, foot size, muscle pattern, movement. Those are just a few of those attributes that we all look for in a donor cow, but it's something that we can see when the females are just young. So finding that high quality heifer with all those qualities that we want in the donor cow, and then with that added show ring look, just gives us the opportunity to compete and then also produce later on.
I know the junior program has played a big part in both of your lives, so maybe chat about a little bit on that and how you guys are involved or were involved and how that set you up for the future.
Well, for me, I attended my first junior national was when I was only 9 years old, which is crazy to think about. And since then, I've been able to attend a multitude of national and provincial breeds shows across North America. I was a part of both the OYCS and OJA boards, but being the Ontario director on the Canadian Junior Angus board for 4 years, it definitely played a big part in who I am. The confidence and knowledge and the connections that I've gained, it's truly unimaginable. I really don't think that half of our juniors even realize what these junior programs do for us until it's all over, saying goodbye to that junior show road a few years ago, it was so much harder than I thought it would be. That first spring show without some of my own there and exhibiting, and then going to the junior heifer show and not being able to walk in that ring, it was so hard. But I really am who I am because of the events that I've been to, the places I've been, and all the people that I've met through the junior programs.
Yeah, and again, Maureen and I have pretty different journeys down this path in junior programs. I only had 4-H until my first Junior Breed Association event in 2022, which was at Double Feature. It really opened my eyes to a whole new side of the industry and a world of opportunities. Joined the OJA and OICSA boards in 2023, and I currently serve as the president of the OICSA and as a director on the OJA board. I was fortunate to attend the American Simmental Junior Nationals in Tulsa, Oklahoma last year on behalf of the YCSA. It was an incredible trip, and I'm always grateful for that opportunity. Just an example of one thing that the programs can do for you. And they also changed the way I view the industry now. It's great to see the next generation coming up. And in the past few years, they've really shaped who I am and how I can give back to the industry that has done so much for me. And just for all the young people listening, don't be afraid to get involved. All these junior shows that have all these extra events are great for building your skills and learning.
I think definitely for me, like one thing I definitely regret is not trying to take part in a lot more of those junior shows. Like I didn't really start showing competitively until I was 16 or 17 years old. And I think at that point in time, I think it's also really hard to kind of jump into it. Like in Morgan's case, when you start out at 9, you grow that group of friends your whole way along. And that's something you're always like, oh, I'm going to go to your junior nationals or go to a conference and I get to see those people. But I think for people that maybe aren't there from a young age, it's a lot harder to put yourself out there and be vulnerable to be like, oh, I'm going to go meet some new people, right? And it is a lot. You bring a heifer, you don't know anybody or you don't know that many people, and it is a lot to kind of try to grasp and handle all at the same time, for sure.
It definitely is. And like when I think back to the Canadian Junior Angus Gold Conferences, when I attended my first one, it was local, it was in Ottawa, and I was young. I didn't talk to people very well. I was so bad for that, and I really was so scared. And my mom was one of the judges for the Legacy Scholarship panel. I showed up early to kind of hang out with some people, and there was this big group of kids from the West, and I didn't know who any of these kids were. I had no idea. And looking back now, I'm good friends with a lot of them. I still know them, talk to them every once in a while, and it's really cool that just that one moment that I didn't know these people, but this junior association brought them to me, and now I have some lifelong friends.
I think that's what it's all about, right? And I think even a lot of the people that I'm friends with now, I could have been friends with them, 8 or 10 years earlier, right? And then now you think about it and you're like, if I just would have been, like a little less shy or maybe a little more outgoing and went and chatted with them, like who knows where we would have gone, right? And you kind of think about it, and like sometimes we have the conversation, you're like, man, I always saw you at those junior shows, but it just never, either of us never kind of went and chatted with the other person, right? So it's definitely one of those things. I think once you get older and you look back on those things, now it's very much, there's someone new. Yeah, you go introduce yourself and you talk, but I think maybe when you're younger, you're a little more worried about your view and what people are going to think about you, and it's nerve-wracking, right, to go up and
introduce. It is, for sure.
And especially in a whole different setting, right? If they're in Ontario and maybe a little more similar style of just how life works, and then you have a big group of people who already all know each other, and for you to go in and be like, oh, hi, I'm Morgan or Mitch or Jackson, right? Like that's as a 16-year-old or even younger, right? Like that's a big.
It's scary. It's a lot.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Kind of sticking with the junior thing, what would be your most memorable show or event that you guys attended?
Yeah, just for a memorable show that stands out to me would be the Royal in 2022. I had a bred heifer, we call her Megs, and she was the national champion percentage female there. And in the junior heifer show, she won the commercial division, and we were also reserve division in showmanship. It was a successful year all year long with her. So it was a pretty special way to finish it off. And she's still a family favorite in the pasture today. So
that's awesome. And how about you, Morgan?
Well, I'm going to date it back a little bit before Jackson even owned cows.
It's kind of crazy too, eh? Like I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this like even today at work, and I was like, it's kind of similar, right? Like Sam never really owned any cows or had anything to do with cows, and like I know obviously Jackson got into it a bit before he met you, but it's kind of just crazy how like you can have literally no idea at all, right? And then I think in both circumstances, everyone knows Jackson Corner and he's very successful, and I think it's the same with Sam, right? And it's crazy how I think when you're in it for a long time, you're like, man, like it takes so long, and then people who are talented and courageous, they just hop in and they just fit right in, right? I think it's very cool in that sense.
Yeah, it's really neat to see.
Well, once again, folks, we'd like to thank Borson Marketing for coming on as a partner in the Next Gen Cattle podcast to provide you guys an updated sale listing every week. Although we only got one sale coming up this week, it's definitely an event that I think is second to none in terms of quality. And I think it's something that everyone looks forward to every year. And it's the 6 Mile Ranch Genetic Focus 2025 sale in Mountain, Saskatchewan. Be sure to reach out to the Borson Marketing crew if you guys have any questions, and we'll get back to the podcast.
But yeah, back to that. So the one show win that really sticks out to me was back in 2014. So we went down to a spring show in Massachusetts with the Enright family and Aaron Briggs. That year I was showing a heifer that we raised, and we still have her in the herd actually, Gem. She's probably my favorite show heifer and donor to date. She really was the perfect showmanship heifer, and I managed to get one of my first big wins at this show, being reserve overall show person. It might seem small now with everything I've done, everywhere I've been and all of that, but it's those wins at the beginning and at a young age that really gave me the confidence and showed me, like, you know what, I can do this. I still have that banner kicking around, and it's a memory I think of often when I look at that old girl in the pasture and I see her daughters and her granddaughters every time we show her, and it's a great feeling.
I think everyone can attest to the fact that there's always one or two that stick out like a sore thumb, right? For me, it's that time in Lindsay in the middle of COVID. I had been involved in the show thing for a bit at that time, but I was still very kind of new to it, right? And then I think I won that year. Like, I think it just takes that one to kind of get under your belt, and then it's really like, holy crap, then it just takes off from there, right? For sure.
It does.
Yeah, for sure.
What would be your favorite product to use in the barn and why?
For me, I've never been someone who's overly dedicated to a certain product. I think that's really because it depends on hair type and kind of the overall goal that we're trying to achieve with the cattle. So I'm going to take this a little different direction into more of a tool. One thing that never changes with the weather, animal, hair type, etc., it's the use of fans. So they're so important for keeping the cattle cool, promoting that hair growth, helping get them dry, and just overall air movement in the barns. It's one thing that never changes, and we all use it, and it's so helpful.
What about you, Jackson?
I'm going to go equipment side with this, and a roto brush. I think it just helps break apart the hair, especially on their legs and really everywhere that they need it. We use it every day. So
yeah, I think too, the roto brush thing, people say, oh, it's just a roto brush, it doesn't do that much, and then you use one and you're like, wow. What's one show that's on your bucket list for each of you, and why?
For me, it would be Louisville. Jackson's had the opportunity to show on the green shavings, but I'm still waiting for that one. Hopefully someday. We did go down a few years ago just to watch the show, and it was incredible. The caliber of cattle's just insane, and I'd really love to be out there with them someday.
What about you, Jackson?
I would say Denver. I got the opportunity to show in Louisville last year, and we're heading down there again this year. I'd just like to hit the U.S. majors.
For sure. Yeah, I guess I was super lucky. As much as I hate showing in the show ring, that was probably one of my favorite classes I had to go in to show in Denver. And it would have been, I guess 2 years ago now, but I was like, that'd be cool if I got to go in there, and it just worked out that we won enough divisions that year that old super sticker had to come out. It was actually funny because it was the year that Dennis judged the Charlet show down there, and he saw me walk in the ring, and his eyes grew about 3 sizes and was like, wow, I didn't know that you showed much, man. I was like, still dirty jeans. I think I had a button shirt on, but I ripping a hoodie off before we went in. It was definitely a cool experience for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But maybe Jackson and Morgan, you two, just talk about, I know you guys are pretty involved in the steers now too, or I see that was it Red Brand or somewhere you had a steer, Jackson?
Yeah, I had a steer at Rockton Fair.
Rockton. Maybe talk about him a bit and where he came from and how you got shown a steer.
Yeah. So that show is my local 4-H show. There's a show and sale, and we usually exhibit at least one steer there every year. Usually one now that both my sister and Morgan have aged out. And the steer this year came from McGilvery's. I got him from the Nostat family. They helped me all year with him, and he was a reserve steer at the Spring Forward show this spring behind another steer that we had there. And yeah, and then we took him to Rockton, and he won there. So
Awesome. Yeah, no, he looked awesome from the pictures online at least.
yeah, thank you.
Sure. Let's go to some rapid fire questions here. Maybe we'll do all of Morgan first, and then we'll do Jackson after. Ladies first.
Sure.
Your favorite gas station snack?
You're going to see a little bit of the same here, but it's definitely anything Reese's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as you don't say ice cream in the middle of winter like Brady, we're good.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that.
Weaver or Sullivan?
I'll take anything I can get, but I will try and pick Sullivan.
Fair enough. If you were stuck fitting one part of an animal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'd head to front legs. You know, it might not be the most common answer, but they definitely aren't always the focus, and I think they need to be tackled with the same skill level and focus as any other part of the body.
100%. I remember last year when I was fitting, or when we were fitting at Dennis's, I was like, I took a step back. I was like, damn, Morgan, like that's like probably one of the best front legs I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, and it's
Well,
true, right?
you.
Like, I think it's definitely a thing that, and Sam and I talk about this quite a bit. And it's like, well, you know, like to start, you always get put on the front leg. And I think sometimes, and there's a couple people that I know, it's like you get so good at front legs that like you never really graduate from a front leg because everyone's like, you get so good and it's like, here you go, you can just stay. So let's go with Royal Winter Fair or Agribition.
I don't like this question. There is definitely something about the Royal that I love. I've grown up there my whole life, but Agribition has a different vibe to it, and I really, really enjoy it. I've only been there a few times, but it's a lot of fun.
And last one, would you rather wash or blow all day?
Blow any day, all day. Give me the blower and I'm good.
Psychopath. All right, Jackson, let's do you. Favorite gas station snack?
Yeah, anything Reese's for me.
Well, just the perfect couple there. Weaver or Sullivan?
I'm a Sullivan guy myself.
For sure. Sullivan rules. And if you were stuck fitting one part of an animal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'd have to say balling tails. I just have a lot of fun doing them. So
For sure. And Royal or Regina?
I'm gonna have to go with the Royal, just because my family is able to come watch. I do love Agribition and have had a lot of fun times there.
For sure. And last one, would you rather wash or blow all day?
I would rather blow, but I usually get stuck in the wash rack. So.
Always.
That's
I
the
always
place
kick
to
him
be.
to the wash rack.
I would totally rather wash 20 than dry 20. Oh my
man.
God. That's like even when Sam was down south, they're like they would wash like 30 or 40 a day. And I was like, we have 3 at home right now. And like for me to get home from work and go stand in the bar and blow them, by the end of it, I'm like, when is this going to be over?
Yeah, at least you don't have a Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like we're pretty lucky, like that Angie stuff where you have like she's haired up pretty good and like she dries pretty quick, but there's that one short horn. And I don't think it's too far off for Charlotte because it feels like you blow and blow and blow and she like never gets dry.
It just never ends.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, are you guys heading to Regina this year? Or?
I'm not, but Jackson will be.
Yeah, I'll be there towards the end of the week.
Awesome, sweet. It sucks this year because the Royal and Farm Fair are on the same week because my whole plan was to come back and kind of catch up with everybody, but I'm stuck at Farm Fair. But Sam's flying in on Friday, so
Good.
I'll have to catch up with Sam for sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate it. And
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this week's episode of the Next Gen Cattle Podcast. Big shout out goes out to all the champions and Supreme champions that were crowned here this last week. Sorry we're a little late getting it out. I think everybody knows how the old Farm Fair and Royal Hangover goes for a couple days after, but we got some really cool guests coming on here leading up to Regina, and feel free to stop by the stall and catch up. We'll see you guys here in a couple weeks.